Hello, I'm Dr. Rachel White, and I'm a course leader for Ecology and Conservation here at the University of Brighton. And what I'd like to do is take this opportunity to showcase just how fascinating and important ecology and conservation is and why Brighton is the place to study it. So, I first wanted to share with you why I do what I do, so why I teach and research and love ecology and conservation, and why I've stayed here at the University of Brighton for 10 plus years now. Well, this is me as a kid. So ever since I was little, I loved being outdoors and getting close with nature. I'm fortunate to have had a lovely childhood growing up in Sussex. With my family, I had a lot of exposure to nature growing up. And for me, in particular, birds were my gateway to the natural world. And if we fast forward to my years as a student, my passion for wildlife didn't fade away. So much so that my undergraduate, master's, and PhD all specialised in ecology and conservation. And no single moment really led to my realization that I wanted to work within conservation science. Instead, it was very much a gradual accumulation of experiences with nature and like minded people who are passionate about wildlife and its conservation. So even when indoors, I was connected to nature through reading books, papers, and watching natural history documentaries. So David Attenborough certainly did and still does play a big role in inspiring me and countless others. So this is me just after my PhD, where I spent some time on Ascension Island as a research assistant mapping invasive plant species. And after this, I landed a lectureship job at Brighton, and I've been here ever since. And I do this job because it is incredibly rewarding. Now, simply put, it's never been more important to study and work in ecology and conservation. The latest Living Planet report highlights that there's been a catastrophic 73% decline in the average size of monitored wildlife population since 1970 worldwide. And here in the UK, the most recent a State of Nature report shows that we're one of the most nature-depleted countries, with nearly 1 in 6 British species threatened with extinction. So urgent, ambitious, and locally coordinated efforts are needed to reverse this crisis, along with bigger, better, and more joined-up spaces for nature. So this requires ecologists and conservation scientists. Local and global biodiversity desperately needs bright, energetic, and imaginative people who will dedicate their work to making a positive difference. For example, here in the UK, we need skilled people to help deliver nature recovery networks, so protecting, creating, and restoring habitats, and also biodiversity net gain, an approach aiming to make sure developments leave the natural environment in a measurably better state than beforehand. And it's important to highlight that there are many examples of conservation successes that we should be learning from and building on, including locally. So one relatively recent and exciting example is the Wheeled to Waves project. That's establishing a 100-mile nature recovery corridor across Sussex, from the Ashdown Forest, via Net Rewilding Estate, all the way down to the sea and the kelp forests off the Sussex coast. So there's this collaborative effort comprising farmers, land managers, councils, researchers, wildlife charities, schools, gardeners, and community groups. And the University of Brighton is involved in surveying and research within parts of this corridor. So Brighton's a really exciting, vibrant, and inclusive city to study and live in. It's a great place for ecologists and conservationists. We have the beautiful South Downs National Park right on our doorstep, walking distance from campus even. Plus, we fall within a UNESCO World Biosphere Reserve called the Living Coast. These are areas with a focus on conservation, of biodiversity, and cultural diversity, environmentally kind of sustainable, and is also underpinned by research, monitoring, education, and training. So Brighton really is a place where people and nature come together, where we have city, coast, and countryside right on our doorstep. We also have these beautiful annual starling murmurations, which you can see in this picture here. It's a real Brighton nature highlight down by the pier. And I can't emphasize strongly enough how brilliant our teaching team are in terms of their passion and expertise for their subject and for student growth. The taxonomic breadth of our team is a really good thing, but quite unusual compared to other universities. So collectively, we cover terrestrial, freshwater, and marine, plants, invertebrates, amphibians, fish, birds, and our latest member of the team, Bogdan, specialises on mammals, particularly carnivores. And at Brighton, we teach via a diversity of teaching methods. So lectures, fieldwork, labs, computer workshops, seminars, journal clubs, tutorials. And learning is very much enhanced by our focus on research-led teaching. So all of the teaching team are active researchers. So courses are directly informed by our research and the knowledge that comes from it, rather than simply being taught out of textbooks. So my research, for example, encompasses avian ecology and conservation, understanding extinction risk, conservation translocations, including reintroductions, and also nature connection or disconnection. And our teaching expertise and best practice leads to publications that inform and guide educators worldwide. And I just put up a few examples of papers that we've worked on that kind of show this. And here at Brighton, we have an ongoing commitment to enhance biodiversity and sustainability across our campuses for the benefit of both nature and students and staff. So this has led to the creation of a People and Nature campus action plan. And a lot of this work is largely led and undertaken by our students. We're involved in national initiatives such as the Hedgehog Friendly Campus, University Mammal Challenge as well. And we have campus monitoring of plants, habitats and birds. And so here on the top of this slide, we can see a beautiful bee orchid that we found on campus. We also get peregrine falcons. And this beautiful beetle here is a golden bloomed grey longhorn beetle, also found on campus. We're currently undergoing attempts to integrate and create biodiversity-rich ponds on all of our campuses as well. This is a student-led initiative. And we also enhanced our existing habitats as well via other kind of more restorative measures. So we work with Sussex Wildlife Trust to restore and protect the chalk grassland at Falmer campus. So this habitat's incredibly diverse and important, but it is vulnerable to being taken over by other more vigorous growing scrub plants. So it's really vital to control the scrub in order to preserve the chalk grassland. And that's what's going on in the bottom right here. So we do have a long-standing ecological society, ECOSOC, really large and growing group of students from all across the university who are passionate about nature and have created this really inclusive space to learn more about the environment and how to care for it. And they organise all sorts of really fun events, indoors and outdoors, that students really love to get involved in. We also like to get involved in and lead local nature initiatives. So, for example, we're the lead coordinator for Brighton and Eastern Downs, taking part in the annual global citizen science event called the City Nature Challenge, which is all about discovering and recording wildlife on your doorstep. And it's a lot of fun. And I encourage you to look up what it's all about and to get involved as well. And we really pride ourselves on our involvement and collaboration with local and national organisations and projects. So this is not an exhaustive depiction of our network here on this slide, but for example, I work closely with NEP Wilding, Citizen Zoo and the White Stork Project on ongoing white stork reintroduction efforts. But yeah, many, many more examples of initiatives that we work with and that we encourage and provide opportunities for our students to work alongside as well. So there's quite a lot going on here on this slide, but this is how the undergraduate degree basically breaks down across the years in terms of modules. So these are learning building blocks. So this is for the 3-year BSc degree, but also the 4-year integrated masters as well. So I'm not going to go through all of this right now, but what I will highlight is that we've developed these complementary themes that build and develop sequentially with each year. So we have themes that focus on employability and research skills, themes on ecology and conservation and survey skills, themes on taxonomy, and also a really good growing strong theme on marine and freshwater systems as well. So you have this fixed first year that really gives you a thorough grounding in ecology and conservation sciences and other fundamental skills. Then you build on this content and skill set, becoming more specialised as you move into the second year and the third year. And if you go on to do the integrated masters, this is where you really increase your level and area of specialism. You do an in-depth research project. We also have a number of optional modules. These do change, but currently these are what we offer at second year, third year, and fourth year integrated master's level. Is a really nice, exciting, and diverse portfolio of optional modules here. So real key ethos at Brighton is giving you real practical experience and helping you train in and develop hands-on skills. So many of our modules have fieldwork components. So this could be day trips or residential trips. And we offer an international field trip to South Africa in the second year. And it's a real highlight of the degree for those that go, getting to live and breathe life on a private wildlife reserve that specializes in conservation and environmental education. However, we do focus more on local field trips, and we're really spoiled for choice given our location. And we really want to have a local positive impact and a reduced footprint. So we take students to Shoreham Local Nature Reserve, for example, Cookmere Haven, Sheffield Park, Neff Estate, and we also make use of our campuses as well. And one field trip that students really love in the first year, within the first few weeks, is we take them to a Field Studies Council area called Preston Montford in Shropshire. We train students up in fundamental field skills, but we receive really overwhelming positive response from students about this trip. They really love the opportunity to get this fundamental skills training, but also to get to know their fellow students really well. And they kind of forge relationships that last throughout the duration of their degree. They also get to know the staff much better too. There's a really nice icebreaker. And when it comes to assessments, we don't focus on the traditional exam format. We instead kind of like to give students as wide a variety of assessment options as possible. So you may be writing practical reports, essays, designing posters, delivering presentations, and we try to make assessments as authentic as possible, so kind of real-world career relevant. So, for example, what's going on here, for a third-year module I lead called Hot Topics in Ecology and Conservation, we ask students to produce a policy briefing note. So I have an example here. And we also encourage students to do a creative kind of communication group exercise where they pick a topic of their choice and they can present it in various different ways. So here we have a podcast being recorded. So they use our recording studios for that. We have students doing videos, films, stop animation. There's a real chance for them to get creative in terms of communicating a hot topic in ecology and conservation. So yeah, authentic modules, authentic assessments. And here we have a really great example of what that can lead to. So this is one of our recent graduates, Federica, and she is now working for an ecological consultancy. And the employer, as quoted here, says that, we take on a new graduate roughly every 2 years, but this is the first to have completed a preliminary ecological appraisal as part of her uni work. So this is related to the third year module called Ecological Impact Assessment, where you have to take on the role of an ecological consultant, and all the training and all the assessment embedded within this particular module definitely made Federica's kind of CV jump off the page and helped her to get this job, which she's now loving. And a real highlight of doing degree is your chance in the final year to do your own research project. We work with each student on a one-to-one basis to help them develop a project that's achievable, that targets the skills they wish to develop further, and that they're passionate about. And many of the projects are also demand-driven and kind of have conservation impact. So this year we had some really exciting topics: colour vision and memory in octopus, seahorse feeding enrichment, suitability of UK gardens for native amphibians, impacts and mitigation of raptor vehicle collisions. What else? Investigating the global trade of carnivorous plants, looking at the impact of sewage leaks on aquatic invertebrates. There's a really exciting opportunity for you to develop and take ownership of your own personal research project. And we actually have a number of students each year that go on to publish their findings in scientific journal articles, which is really fantastic and something that we are supportive of and encourage. So we just got some examples of different topics published by students in recent years. So finally, in terms of where can a degree with the University of Brighton or a degree in ecology and conservation actually take you, what we've done here is just summarise and list some of the broad areas that it can take you. And hopefully you can see here that there's a really diverse portfolio of potential career paths you can go down, everything from kind of scientific research through to practical conservation, potentially working for a non-governmental organisation, a research charity. There's something like RSPB or WWF. You could work in a zoological institute. You can go into the policy government sector as well. Education, be that school teaching or university lecturing, or actually kind of more education in terms of public outreach and public engagement is increasingly important, really, really important. And ecological consultancy, which is quite popular. So that's working with businesses to ensure that their activities are done in a way that minimizes negative impacts on the natural environment. So that's lots of hands-on field surveying work, but also lots of kind of stakeholder liaising and relationship kind of building as well. So good communication skills are important. So various different career paths, as I'm sure you can appreciate from this non-exhaustive list here. Now, that's all I've got really time to say today in terms of our little course overview for ecology and conservation, but I do encourage you to keep in touch. So, I'm Dr. Rachel White. Here's my email address. And if you do also want to find out a bit more, I encourage you to scan this QR code and you can read our latest ecology and conservation newsletter, which we publish celebrating student and staff successes every academic year. So take a look at that. And there's loads of really exciting things that we get up to within ecology and conservation. So thank you very much.